The first stance that we're going to cover is the natural stance. And the natural stance is just like this. We're hanging out at home, we're at the grocery store, doing whatever. Okay, we're not really concerned with any type of threats, so we can often be what? Flat-footed, right? So you give me a little shove from that direction, I would fall backwards. If somebody pushes me from the back, I fall frontwards. So we have that. Now for the Kenpo Jujitsu students, that is the natural stance. For the Kenpo curriculum or the Taijutsu curriculum, that is called Shizen. Okay? Now from there, we go to the attention stance. And the attention stance is very simply feet together, hands at your side, you're looking straight ahead. Just like in the military, it's a disciplinary stance. All the students line up. We get in the attention stance. And when we are there, we can receive instruction or information. Now, if you want your students to relax, but still pay attention, you can put them at relax stance. Relax stance is after everyone's at attention, the instructor will call out relax, and they can go ahead and they can move their left foot around, their right foot stays planted. There's still no talking, but they can kind of shake it out a little bit, okay? I want the hands in front. This is a little bit different than some of the other martial arts or even in the military when they put people at a parade rest stance, hands are in the back. The reason why our hands are in front are because it's easier to defend yourself. And that is something we always want to build into what we are doing. So students can stand around like this. They can follow you with their eyes, shake out their legs a little bit, and it's a little bit more informal. These two stances are their academic, their educational, or their discipline stances. Okay, so you'll see them in most martial arts systems. There's some differences, but let's start off with the square horse. Now you might hear it as the square horse, the training horse, or the meditation horse. So if I step off to my left and get my hands right about here, there's no hard and fast rule about where to put your hands. I'll go ahead and step over here so the line's going right between. Okay, and then I bend my legs a little bit. I stick my butt out, kind of like you'd see a basketball player for good strength and balance in the foundation. And I stand here. This is my training horse. Now from here, I can receive instructions from the individual who's teaching class today. So it might be doing certain strikes. They might be teaching a class on traditional blocking, things like that. They might be putting us here just because we messed up and this starts to burn the legs after a while. So it's a discipline stance. But we also teach a lot of basics from this position. Okay? So how do we know how wide to go as far as how the width of our stance? Everybody's different. So instead of telling you to have your feet 1 foot apart or 2 feet apart, the way a lot of systems have been doing it for thousands of years is to have their students go heels out, toes, heels out. So it looks like this. Heels, toe, heels. Bend your knees a little bit, make any minor adjustments, right, for your body shape and style. Bend your knees. The only difference is, like I said earlier, we put our butt out a little bit. I want you to be a little bit more athletic. So if you're coming from a style where normally you tilt your hips forward, try to build that out of your habit, because I want you to be able to put a barbell on your back and push up when you're in your training horse. Okay? So this is the training horse. This is the meditating horse. And this is the meditating horse. This represents the scholars, the education, the restraint, the civility. This represents your ability and willingness to fight if forced to. Put them together, starts to make up the whole being. Now, this shows all those good things, the intelligence, the wisdom, the leadership, the justice. And we're exposing, we're letting everybody know that we have a strength, an ability, and willingness to fight. This we will use when we are trying to conceal that fact. So, throughout your Kenpo training, it gets kind of neat how we build these philosophies into different sets or forms. So, this, and this are the horse stance. So, we always try to initiate our maneuvers with the left foot. Now, the fighting horse is actually the exact same thing, but from a different angle. So, to make that more visible, I am going to face to your right. All right. And now, I'm going to get into my square horse stance. Or my what? Training horse, meditating horse, meditating horse. Now, if I'm like this, all I need to do is to, when the instructor would call out left or right fighting horse, let's say they call out a right fighting horse, all I have to do is bring up a guard. It can be like this, much like our passive stance. It can be more of a sparring type of guard. Come back to the training horse, left fighting horse, back to training. Right fighting horse. Left fighting horse. Again, I said it's a training or educational stance. The theory a very long time ago is that if I stand like this and the threat's to my 9 o'clock, what it's going to be is a stance where I'm exposing the least amount of my body to the adversary. Okay? But while it may work in sparring or point karate tournaments, they started to realize that you can't move that quick. And you can't launch half your weapons without making major adjustments. So, probably in our next lesson, we're going to get into the neutral bow, and let's do the forward bow as well in our next lesson. So, who can fight like this? I tell you what, Lyoto Machida and Stephen Wonderboy Thompson can fight sideways. It's incredible, and they're MMA fighters. Can't do it. Most of the people I've trained with can't do it, so that's it on those two stances. And the final weapon is the upward elbow. Okay, all that is coming up here. So if you're too close for the heel palm, you could use that same motion and throw in an upward elbow. Just pretend you're brushing your hair and you're picking that elbow up, okay? If I throw an elbow, let's say I throw an elbow this way. It's coming upward, but look at how high it goes. It kind of stops here, okay? If I use the hair brushing analogy or metaphor, I get it a lot higher. So if I'm saying, please, please, please don't hurt me, and you move forward and you throw that elbow up into their chin, they're probably going to have a reaction, which is what you want.